Yeah, hello, Glenn Turner again today. Hey, we got a great subject. We're going to be talking about physical power. Physical power. That's very important because if you don't feel good, you can't do anything with your life. Physical power. Now let's start off with the exercise part. Ben Franklin once said, in order to look good and feel good, we have to eat things we don't like the taste of, and we have to move the way we don't like to move. Meaning that we have to eat food that's not sugared too much or fixed up and too many spices and things like that, and we have to exercise and move the body a little more than just walking around and getting up and getting down. Exercise. Most people's idea of exercise consists about like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ain't I a good boy? Can you believe that? Now, exercise is something that if you haven't been doing it in a while, you need to start off gradually. First, you need to see your doctor and make sure your ticker's working right and all the parts are in order. And even people with heart problems and things like that can have a good exercise program if you understand how to use your body for its own benefit. Now, my exercise, I want to tell you, I don't do a lot of exercise. People think that I do a lot of exercise, but mainly I have streaks. Sometimes I'll go 3 months in exercise and I'll take a month off. But the main thing is I watch my eating, which is very important, and my exercise program consists of sometimes for about 2 months, I'll get on a bicycle and I'll ride for an hour, 3 times a week. And then I'll go on a walking bench. And I'll walk maybe for 30 minutes at a fast pace 3 times a week and knock off the bicycle riding. If it's raining, I might do some exercise inside. Most of the time, about 9 months out of the year, and I take certain times off, depends on my schedule, what I'm doing, I will do push-ups first. And I'll get down and do push-ups. And it doesn't matter if you can't do but 1 push-up. Now, if you can't do a whole push-up, do one on your knees. And that's for your triceps and your, mostly. And it just keeps you firm. But mainly what it does, when you do a push-up or a barbell curl, and I'm trying to give you something light, not something heavy, because I know most people are not going to do heavy stuff, so I'm giving you a lazy man's way of exercise. I am a lazy person, basically, when it comes to exercise. But I'm 59 years young, and I'm in good shape because I do a simple 15-minute exercise, usually in the morning. And when you curl a barbell or do a push-up, it cuts the blood off in your arm. It's just like when you squeeze the hose if you're watering the garden. It cuts it off, and all of a sudden the heart pumps the blood up behind it, and when you release it, 7 times as much blood gushes through the veins, and it cleans all the waste material out of the cricks and crevices of the vein. And that flushes on out of the body. And what that does for you is that gives you more energy. The first day it won't happen, the second day or the first week, but after a couple of weeks you flush all that waste material out of your veins and you have more energy because more red blood, more new food can come in and vitalize the fingers, the legs, the working parts of the body. And of course you can see it's working good on my mouth, right? But that's what it does. It flushes out the body. And after you do your push-ups, then I do some squats. I squat all the way down, and I'll go up and down about 12 or 15 times. Now, I don't believe that you need to get a 200-pound weight on your shoulder and squat with it. I mean, how many times are you going to be toting 200 pounds unless you're in that type of work? If you're in that type of work, you don't need to weight lift because you're lifting something on your job. Now, so you simply do your push-ups, and then you do your squats, and I do 3 different squats. I do one all the way down, and we follow me down here, and I get below the knee, and I just go up and down to keep the pressure on it. And then I go all the way down on 8, okay? And then I have a half squat that I do, you know, just above for the knees. Keep that under pressure, see, under pressure. And then I have one where I raise my toes up. If you can get my toes here, young fellow, I'd appreciate it. But I put a block on the back of my heels, and I'm not going into all that, but I'm just giving you a fast one on it because we have tapes that Dr. Susan Smith-Jones is going to give you in a moment on the audio tape. You can listen to that. And what I do is I go like that. That tightens right here. All right? So that's basically my exercise program, all but the fact that I do some sit-ups. Now, when I do sit-ups, if you're young, you can do a full sit-up. But if you're older, you just do crunches. I can be shaving and do my exercise for my stomach. I can be standing right there and shaving, and all I'm doing is tightening these muscles. That keeps me flat, keeps me firm, good. Then I do one more, which is the side bend, you know. And usually when I'm combing my hair, it's amazing. People waste time, but I get it all done. Now I've used this method for 40-some years, and it seems to work for me. I don't know whether it work for you. But exercise is not something you have to spend a lot of time on. The main thing you have to do it is on a regular basis, like 3 times a week. Now, food. One of the reasons I've been able to keep slim and trim, I guess, is what I put in my body. You know, what you eat is what you look like. In most cases, there's always a medical reason and things like that. But I try to eat a light breakfast. Okay, mostly fruit and grain. If you'll eat fruit and grain for breakfast, that'll keep your body regular, keep your waist problem eliminated. And an old doctor one time that was 96 years old told me in order to be healthy, you have to watch what you put in here and keep your bottom clean. In other words, he means you have to be regular. And you don't need all these laxatives. What you need is good, fresh fruit. Now, you can go to the health food store if you can. That's the best way to do it. Or pick it off your own tree if you live out in the country. Because fruit will keep the body, cleanse it right out. And it's very important that the inside of your body is as smooth as your face when you shave, or as clean as your face before you put on your makeup. See, most people think about how you look, and they don't work on the motor, and the motor of the liver, the lungs, and the intestines, and the inner thing. Think about all the bad food and the smoking and the drinking and the bad habits you've had all the years, messing up the inside of this machine. Now, this is a tremendous machine we have here. This machine here is unbelievable made. It has many thousands of miles of blood vessel in it. It has, it pumps thousands and thousands of gallons of blood through it every day. And what do we do with this machine? We take it for granted until we get sick. Now, if you learn to eat good, proper food, that is the most important thing you do outside the exercise for your physical well-being. And now, for lunch, generally I'll eat a salad or a very light lunch, something baked, things like that. But most of the time I try to eat maybe 2 small portions a day and 1 big one. Ideal, you should eat 5 times a day, just a small portion. Because when man was first came on this earth, what did he do? He walked through the jungle or through the plains. He picked an apple off a tree and he ate it. His whole life was getting food and protecting himself. Then he walked a little farther and he picked an orange, or he picked some nuts off of a pecan tree. Then he pulled up a turnip green, or he took a head of cabbage. And so he eat all day. Now, I believe, personally, and I have no medical facts to back this up, I believe that because we mix all these foods together, all these chemicals, these compounds, everything in there, that it gets in our body and it starts interacting against each other, and that's what causes us to have diseases and not to be healthy. I think if you should eat everything by itself. Now, I don't always do that, but I try to watch it. They say as far as melon is concerned, eat it alone or leave it alone. You'll be hearing a lot more about this on your nutrition on the tapes that we have by Dr. Susan Smith-Jones, which is 4 audio tapes that goes with this tape. And so remember that exercise is important, eating is important, and those are the 2 keys to physical well-being, because that gives you plenty of energy. And energy is what it's all about. Now, how many people you know that at the age of 30 has got no energy? The reason you got no energy is because it's a lack of exercise in most cases, and it's a lack of the way they eat too. So the main thing you got to do is you've got to get on a discipline program. Now, most people are not disciplined, and that's sad. You control your mind, and as controlling your mind, you can allow your mind to control your body. Your body is your automobile. I never have understood how people will go change the oil in the car. They'll change the tires. They're real fussy about keeping it shine and polished, and they let the bodies go. They don't get regular checkups. If they got a problem, they're scared to go find out because they're afraid it'll be something worse. Most everything can be healed or fixed. The Bible itself, the Christian Bible, says that you will be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And Jesus said that your faith has made you whole. So our faith, that we can cure ourselves. The mental power, excuse me, the mental power of the mind can solve the physical power of the body if it's out of whack. And I believe in 60% of the case. I have a friend right now in Atlanta, Georgia, in the hospital. And he's had 2 times he had 3 bypasses. If he doesn't get a heart transplant in the next 30 days, he'll be dead. And it's sad. They're running the tubes up now, wide the arteries and things like that. His mother died at about 55 years old, and he is about 53 years old. And so we're praying for him. And I know that some of you out there listening to this tape has medical problems, that these physical things I'm talking about won't help you. But the nutrition can help you, because you see, your body is made up of what you eat. Just like your car. If you put bad material in a manufacturing plant, you're going to have a bad piece of fender or a starter or a tire rubber. Anything, if you put bad material, you're going to have bad. So what you've eaten all your life is what your body is. So you must eat good food. You cannot afford to eat cheap food. You've got to be careful. You've got to have a balanced diet. And you have to study, because the basic food groups, as we was taught in school, I think that's a bunch of junk. You know, it helps to a certain extent, but you've got to learn that your body is not like anybody else's body. It's not like my body. What I say may not fit you. The first advice is get it from your doctor, find out where you're at, lay out a program, and follow it. Physical fitness is probably the greatest thing you can do outside of mental power and your spiritual power. Physical fitness, because you got to feel good. Now, when I was a young fellow, I never thought about physical fitness other than to pump my muscles up, and so the girls could say, well, he's got a hair lip, but buddy, that's not a great-looking body he's got, right? So I did what I had to do. I'd always jump out of the tallest tree and show my physical athletic abilities. At the river, you know, we was diving and cutting flips, and I always outdid everybody, because I was trying to compensate, because I didn't think I was pretty in the face. Well, I've learned then that what I can't do anything about, I accept. And what I can, I change. Now, you can sculpt your body, but if you're overweight and you want to trim it down, don't try to do it in 2 months or 3 months. Change your eating habits and change the portions you take. Your stomach will shrink gradually. Smoking, that's a no-no. I don't really like you do it, that's your business, but it does not make sense. Drinking, that's a no-no, all right? Now, they say if you can drink 2 ounces a day, it won't hurt you, but most people can't hold the 2 ounces a day. It gets to be addictive. Drugs are a no-no. Now, why? Because the way I look at it, I'm so high, if I took drugs, if I smoke or I drink, I would come down. I'm so high on life. I'm so high on the God within me and the power of the mind. I challenge you to take back your physical well-being. I challenge you to become the best that you can be. All of us can't run a 3.5 mile, a 4-minute mile. All of us can't ride a motorcycle. All of us can't do certain physical feats that somebody else. But don't judge yourself on your husband, on your wife, on your son. Judge yourself on yesterday. Are you better today than you were yesterday? It's the question you should ask yourself. Everybody can improve. But lay out a long-range plan to overcome that short-range frustration you're going to have, because you're going to get flustered when you try it. You remember, it took you a long time to get out of shape. Give yourself at least a third of the time to get back in shape. And you say, well, I'm going to be dead in 5 years. Why should I go to trouble? Because you're going to feel good until you die. You're going to feel good until you die. You've got nothing else to do. Why not exercise? You know, if you say, well, I'm retired, blah, 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 blah. Exercise, get out, breathe the fresh air, walk. If you live in a city, and, you know, you have to take a drive out in the country. Maybe you ought to consider relocating and moving out to a country town. People are always talking about, well, they can't afford to do something. If you live in a small town, your expenses are smaller. So I challenge you to get on an exercise program and get on a good diet eating program and think right. This is Glenn W. Turner. God bless you. Thank you.